In this lesson, we're going to learn the American author's song, The Best Day of My Life. It's very simple from chord standpoint, 2 chords, D and G. But there's a lot of riffs in here, and on some of these more advanced charts, I'm going to start charting out the actual melody lines of things. And this is a good one because it has some of these banjo licks and stuff that we can imitate with the ukulele. So let's take a look at the 2 chords. There's the G chord right there. We're going to play it like this. Okay, so you can see it there. It's a bar. So it's just like a C here, but we're barring up 2 frets, 1 step. So, and then the next chord is a G, and this looks, this is basically the same form as an F. If you played an F like this, C and F, and we're going to bar it all up. And I just keep that high D up there, just makes it easy to play the 2 chords. Okay, so those are the 2 chords. I mean, that's it, whole song, 2 chords. There is one part where the bass plays a different bass note, makes it sound like a B minor. But for the guitar part, or in this case the ukulele part, there is no change. So let's take a look at this riff. Let's see. So we're going to start here with our finger on the 5th fret. We're going to play on the upper 2 strings, the higher sounding 2 strings here, the E and the A. So it's a little bit quick when you play the riff up to speed. And I'm using my thumb and my finger together. I'm using the thumb on the E string, finger on the A string. So I'm pushing the thumb and pulling with the finger. This is a technique you can use to play single note stuff on the uke. Okay, so this gets a little complicated in terms of fingering. If you haven't done much single work stuff, look back through the lessons for some scale exercises, playing scales on the ukulele, and get some practice in on that before you attempt this, because you're going to have to move around a little bit. So, again, 5th fret, all the way up here to the 9th fret, 7th and back to the 5th, and then we've got the 7th on the E string. And then you've got to slide up here to, 12th fret. And here, because the uke is so small, you can spread your fingers out over a lot more frets than you can on a guitar, because they're just closer together. So I'm using my pinky here for the 9th fret. I'm using my middle finger here for the 7th. You could use your 3rd finger, although that's more of a stretch. With your pinky, it makes it nice and even. Then, for the second part of the riff, or the second half of the riff, the first part is the same, but the second part we hop up to the 12th fret, and spread your fingers out here. Use your pinky on the 12th, because we're going to hop back down to the 5th. And these 2 notes are quick, so you can't You don't want to slide. You want to have your fingers in position. Sorry. And even hop back here because you're going to go all the way back down to the 5th fret on the E string to start the riff over again. Oops. This is going to take a little practice to get coordinated. Okay, and that's what starts out the song. On the record, when you get into the verse, it's just drums, and he's sort of singing by himself. So I just put the whole note chords, 2 bars each. Tuning here. Okay, so 2 bars on the D chord and then another 2 bars on the G chord. And really the whole song goes back and forth like this between D and G. 2 bars on D, 2 bars on G. Really for the whole song, except in the bridge, it stays on the D while they do that vocal thing and build it all up. So that's why there's really no arrangement here on the chart, because there's not a whole lot of change in the chords, and you can play along with the record just using these 2 chords, no problem. For the chorus part, I put a little rhythm in here, a little strumming rhythm, so that you can play along with the chorus. This part, I'm not sure if it really exists on the record. The record is sort of made up of little bits and pieces. It doesn't really have a central acoustic guitar or something like that playing the rhythm part, so I'm just sort of adding this in to give you something to play. So you can follow the strumming pattern along in the chart. I'm using just a simple rake across the strings for the strumming, nothing fancy there. And that's that. Okay, so to continue on with this with all the riffs in the song, I have the guitar riff that is played after the chorus. Okay, so it's fairly simple, straight ahead. Here I'm on the 5th fret, the E string. And here comes the tricky part. We go down to the C string, 4th fret, and we're going to do a bend. You just sort of, we're bending it up a half step, 1 fret's worth, which is, you know, a decent amount, a decent pull on the string. And you're bending it up and then releasing the bend back down again. This is sort of a bluesy thing, kind of a guitar. I mean, obviously it's played on guitar in the record, so we're just sort of imitating it here. You can see on the chart we have the indication of the bend and bend release there. So that is that electric guitar riff that happens sort of right after the chorus. Okay, The only other part that I've got here for you is a plucking part that can go along with the chords, similar to the banjo. This is kind of hard to play at tempo. It's not slow. Okay, so what I'm doing here is basically thumb and forefinger alternating, and we're starting on the D chord, but we're playing it a little bit differently. Just on the 2nd fret here on the C and E string. And I start with the C string, plucking the C string, then pluck the A string, then pluck the E string, then back to the A again. And it alternates like this. Bottom, or like low string, upper string, low string, upper string, with the high string in the middle of each pluck. Now, banjo players practice huge amounts to get this together. That's why they can play it so fast and sound so effortless. So this is going to take a little bit to get going. It's a good introduction to finger picking, too. Now on the G chord, all we do is change one finger. We go to the 3rd fret on the E string, but the plucking reverses now. We're going to pluck the E string first, like this. So the D chord starts by plucking the C string. Sorry. Hey, maybe I can play it. Got it slowed down. So you switch back and forth. Just leave your thumb there, and when you switch chords, leave your thumb there. So there you go. That's a great finger picking exercise, even beyond the song itself. It's a great way to get started in finger picking on the uke. And that's really all the parts. Again, 2 chords throughout the song, minus the vocal build-up. It's sort of in the bridge of the song, or whatever you want to call it, where they just stay on the D for a while they're doing all the vocals. You've got the chords, D and the G. We've got this plucking part. Alternating back and forth. You've got the guitar riff. All right. And then you've got the opening riff, the beginning riff, which it repeats later on in the arrangement too. There you have it. American Authors, Best Day of My Life, 2 chords, lots of riffs.